that time of year again, a very important time when we set the tax rate for the year that we're already in. And so we have a hearing annually per the state auditor's office. There's an annual hearing, and we posted the estimated tax rate 2 weeks prior in several places throughout the district. We posted it in Sunset Hills and City Hall and in Crestwood City Hall. And then we have it on our website and here as well. So next page. Factors that affect the tax rate, of course, our assessed valuation in our area. This year is a non-reassessment year. Every other year there's reassessment, non-reassessment. The year that we are in is non-reassessment, which means the St. Louis County does not come out and look at your properties and reassess. Every year there's new construction and improvements and increases in personal property. An example of new construction and improvements that has not hit yet is something like the Toys R Us store becoming the Bass Pro Shop. So that will hit the books eventually. Another factor is the Hancock Amendment. It is a Missouri statute that does not allow us to increase the levy above a 5% increase. So if assessed values in the area were to go up 20%, we have to lower our levy to keep the taxpayers harmless. This year, the Consumer Price Index was 7%, but our actual growth was much lower, so we're limited to actual growth. Debt also affects the levy. When we have new bond issues, you may look at a tax rate. Our last bond issue was a no tax rate increase, so the rate for debt has not changed for many years. And then the state auditor's office does review the rates prior to them being set with the county. Next slide. We think about the tax rate all year. I'm not going to go through all the points in the year that we think about it, but it's in January, of course, when all the tax bills start going out to our patrons. That's the start of it. We get our first information from the county on a non-reassessment year in late August. And then we bring that information to the board in September, set the rate on October 1st, and then start receiving the taxes in December and January. And then we start all over. Next slide. I have information here about our current assessed valuation and the previous 5 years. As you can see from the top line, our assessed valuation continues to grow, which is great. We are in a growing value district. The next two lines show new construction and increase in personal property. These are the annual items that every year we get full value of those additions to assessed valuation because they're new or an improvement to a property from a prior year. So this year, our new construction and improvements was $8.5 million, and then I have a history there of the previous 5 years. Last year was a large number. We were very surprised by that. As you can see, prior years weren't as much. Generally, when we budget for this, because we adopt the budget in June, prior to knowing this data, we have historically used a 3-year average. Last year, we did, for this June budget, we did use a 4-year average because we thought that 20 million was an anomaly. It's just not normal. So we have 8.5 million, which is right about what we budgeted for new construction. The next line was a big surprise. If you look at the increase in personal property tax, the 1-year increase, because they do assess personal property on an annual basis, was $47 million. That is not a typo. You can look at the past history. We were nowhere near. I went back to 1986, that far back, and it has never been that high. We had a lot of conversations with CFOs throughout the region who also saw the same number. We made contact with St. Louis County and talked to their assessor attorney, and their comments regarding that uncommon increase was, number one, an influx of pandemic dollars or relief funds into communities throughout the state, and then so people actually buying more personal property. And then the other item of why that increase is so high is because the value of cars and used cars. So I'm challenging everyone to, when you get your tax bill this year, when you think your used car's got a little bit older and it's going to be, value's going to be less, please report back. Because when we did file this with the state auditor's office, she sent us a letter back. I talked to my peers at other districts, and everybody got that letter back saying, please check your personal property values. This seems extreme. So It is a very strange thing, and I'm going to say we've been in strange 2 years, and we're digging ourselves out. So we'll hopefully be back to some norm next year. So our actual growth of property that existed in both years, this does not include new construction or new personal property. It's property that was on the books last year and on the books this year. That was a 0.89%, which if you look at our non-reassessment years, that's more the norm. Normally in a non-reassessment year, we see 0 or right under 1%. And then this year, the consumer price index was 7%. So we are limited to the lower of actual or consumer price index are 5%. Just different times, very different things and hard to predict. Next. So with that data and what was filed with the State Auditor's Office, we do in St. Louis County set 5 different levies. It's the only county in Missouri that does it this way. We set a levy based on residential, agricultural, commercial, and personal property. Everyone sets a debt service levy. I will tell you that the residential rate in Lindbergh is the lowest rate you can have for residential property in the state of Missouri. It cannot go any lower. There are very, very few districts that are at this low level, and Lindbergh is one. Out to the right, I have another little comment about recoupment. This year we do have something new again. Last year when the St. Louis County gave us the assessed valuation data in August, they gave us a number, and then when we got our final numbers in December, when all tax things were complete, the number was lower. So when we set our levy in September, we did not have accurate data, and we had to lower our levy somewhat because they said our growth was higher. Because like I said, if AV grows above inflation rate, we have to lower our levy to hold the taxpayers harmless. So this happened also in St. Louis County to most of the school districts. What you can do at the State Auditor's Office is kind of like amend your tax return that you do as an individual. We can go back at this time of the year, amend our prior year tax levy, and recoup those cents that we rolled back too much due to the error from St. Louis County. So we're looking at right now a blended rate, which is the rate they use to compare with other Missouri districts, of $3.93. It is about 10 cents higher than it normally would be because we're going back and correcting our last year's tax levy. Next slide. This just talks a little bit about recoupment. So it's in the packet if anybody wants to read it. It's the first time I've done it in my career for 25 years, but it really is just like amending your individual tax return from prior years. And I think that's my last, so this is the other slide. We also have to, besides setting it by class, we have to set it by fund. School districts operate on a fund basis, and this is how we will divide our revenue by fund. General and teacher are really operating funds. Capital projects is what we use for our facilities, and then the debt service, as I said, hasn't been changed for many years at that 83 cents. Next slide. And that's what I have, unless anybody has any questions.
I do.
Okay.
And I'm so sorry I didn't ask this prior to
no, that's fine.
So it's going to seem like I'm putting you on the spot, but I think we do a phenomenal job with the money that we have. And what you said earlier was that we were the lowest in the state of Missouri.
Oh, not Missouri, it's St. Louis County.
Okay, St. Louis County.
Sorry,
that's
okay.
That's
okay. If I said that, I was wrong. I'll retract that. St. Louis County.
But I tell you what, I love seeing that.
Yep.
So if we can
there's not many in there's still not many in Missouri that are at 275. It's a very rare thing.
Yeah,
yep.
But I love that on that like Excel spreadsheet or Google sheet, whichever one, just to see that because again,
I actually sent that to our cabinet team. Of course, the rates are not set for next year, but last year it was verified, so I will send that up to the board.
It's excellent. Yeah, we do great.
It's surprising the rates that other districts have where we're at. So,
thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Joël. And at this time, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to come forward to address the Board of Education regarding the proposed tax rate? All right, hearing none, we will move to adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn Special Board of Education meeting 1560?
So moved.
Motion by Kathy.
Second.
Second by Matt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Board meeting 1560 is adjourned.